Okay, this is my learning log for Math 3050 60865 with Professor Smart. My name is Anna Spence, and I have it labeled here at the bottom. So on the first page, I have the learning log rules. And then it skips a page, and we have our table of contents that I did different colors and put the page number beside each section of the weeks that we have done. I didn't go through and label everything because, as you can see, if you go to one page, you can find the rest on your own. Then on the first week one, we went ahead and did a foldable for point, line, and plane, and it is taped to the back of that sheet and has the picture, the definition, and the words. And the way I highlighted my learning log is for the weeks, I did purple. For the main titles of the video, I did pink. And for the subtitles, I did yellow. And for words that I needed to put in my glossary and that I needed to memorize, I put in green. And then for questions, I did the blue color. So, and some of the time when I had a question, some of the questions actually came out of the Edpuzzle videos that had the actual questions in there. So usually if there's a question mark, that is what Miss Smart put in the Edpuzzle videos that we needed to know, and the ones we answered. So I just did that and put it in here so that could help me study. Then we go to angles, and in my thing, I've done all the descriptions for each of the different type of angles and put the definitions for them. And then we had to do the chart, and I started this semester behind everybody else because I got put in the wrong class, and so I just had to do mine. I went ahead and did it while I was taking my notes on my notebook, so it looks like a piece of paper, but then I went back and actually did it on the actual paper like we were supposed to. And I just stuck that in there where this is so I can have it. And then I have angle bisector and parallel lines cut by transversal and vertical angles and corresponding angles. I wrote all that down here and put my picture. And then I did some patty paper that had like angle bisector and stuff like that. And I stuck these examples in this part of my learning log. And again, I have some questions in blue and some examples of what those looks like on that side. Then we go to week 2, polygons and curves. And I wrote out simple curves, closed curves, and I made sure to put all the different types that was shown in the video, the best I could draw them. That way I could refer back to this page. And then I also had the worksheet, page 19, that we did. And so I went ahead and put it in here. These are the ones I've glued in that I could tell which one was simple, closed, polygonal, and what was all 3 of those or 2 of those. So I put that in there, and that kind of covers, this kind of gives me a rundown of all these pages that are in my learning log, because it all kind of talks about polygons, convex polygons, concave. And then I have my circle right here that I actually drew with my protractor, and I actually labeled it. So it is a perfect circle. I want it to be actually nice and neat, so I could label all the parts correctly. And then we went over and we did the Jordan curves, and I did that and I drew those the best I could do. They were kind of hard to do. And then on the bottom, we did the triangle sum conjecture. And on this one, we actually had to tear paper and put it in our learning log. So I had to do that also. Still highlighting everything and making sure it's all nice and neat. Then we go to triangles, and I highlighted the green in all the different kinds of triangles because of the definitions. Those are the ones I needed to know. And then we go down to week 3, which was working with polygons, and I drew them out also. And then we skip over on this side, and we are doing interior angles, and I highlighted that. Then you go to the next page, and we have exterior angles, and I drew all those as well. And then it goes the polygon sum conjecture and quadrilaterals, and I have it like highlighted in yellow and green because the green shows the definitions again. And then I put in here quadrilateral chart and referred to the chart. And these charts were in my binder of the papers that we were supposed to do extra. And so then I just go down. It has parallelograms and what the properties are of it that I took notes on. And then we have the rhombus, rectangle, square, kite, trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid. And then we go on to tessellations, which I have at the bottom. And then we have regular tessellations and then regular tiling. And throughout this one, I have a lot of questions, so I highlighted those in blue. Then we go to regular tessellations and semi-regular tessellations, and I drew those out the best I could. Those were a little bit harder to do, to scale those images down. But yeah, we did that. And we had the summary, and then it goes to week 4, which is dimensions, 3 dimensions. We go to space figures and the polyhedras, and I drew all those out also. And then we come on this side, and we have the prism, and I labeled all the faces of that, the vertex, and like all the different parts of it that are important. And then I actually colored the face in so you could see on this 3D image what each part was. Then I have my right prism, my oblique prism, my pyramids, my right pyramid, and my regular polyhedra. All this is what I drew these out so we can make sure we remember and make sure we labeled them correctly so we could distinctly tell which ones were which. Then we go down to tetrahedrons and cube and octahedrons and dodecahedron and icosahedron, and it has all the features of those on this page. Then we skip to the Euler's formula, and I made sure to write the chart out, and then I did the formula, the actual formula for it, which is V plus F equals E plus 2. And so we did that, and then I had the cylinders, and I drew the different types of cylinders right here. And then we had cones, and instead of trying to draw this out, I actually took the paper out of a page out of my binder, and I actually cut it out and just glued it in here because I was like, there's no way I can draw that out with actually going back and realizing what I actually drew. So I just used the copy of it. Then we go and we look at spheres, and I try to draw that the best I could. Then we go to week 5, which is geometric transformations. It goes through all the different ones, starting off with translations. And then we go to this page, and we actually took graph paper out, and I actually drew those translations on actual graph paper so I could tell exactly what it was and how it was translated. And this is, I glued my pre-image and my image for this one. So I could really tell what the translation was. Then we go down to rotations, and I drew some examples of the face and the arrow. And then I did reflection, and I drew that also. And over here, I actually did a pre-image and image of an actual thing that I cut out, which was, I did moons. That way I could really tell, because you can see in my drawing that it kind of looks like a dilation because the image is way smaller than my pre-image. And so I was glad that I actually put it in there on grid paper with an actual image that I found online that I actually cut out, because you can distinctly tell that those are the two same shapes, but they're just different colors. So then we go down to the glide reflection. I took notes with the images of the foot, but then I went and did paw prints on my actual graph paper so you could really see the different ones and how it goes across the glide vector and the glide mirror. And then we did a dilation, and I did this on graph paper also so it was precise. And then we went over here and we did the big dilation, which was from the ABC, and we did that. We drew that out also. Then we go into week 6, And we are doing symmetry. So I try to draw all those out. Line symmetry and the question right here. And then rotational symmetry. And then come over here to point symmetry. And it just gives a rundown of what all those are. And then we go into week 7, which is, let me see. Okay, and symmetry was our last one we had to go through. So I did my symmetry, and you can tell I continued on with week 7 on the next. But since we didn't have to actually cover that, I'm going to go ahead and skip to my glossary. So my glossary is just my definitions. And the way I took my notes, since I couldn't just wait until to know what kind of order. They're not in alphabetical order, my definitions, but I have all the green ones that I wrote, that I highlighted in my actual notes, and I put them in different colors in here and made it all colorful. So we have A and B on this one page. Sorry, that thing is moving. And then I have C and D on this page with all the definitions. And then E through G, H through J, K through N, O through P, Q and R, S and T, U to W, and then X to Z. And then it skips to the websites, and I haven't added any websites yet. I need to go through and make sure there hasn't been really any. There's been a lot of literature that I think that I may add on the websites page, even though it's not an actual website. You know, it could be good things that I could reference back to, so I may add those on here as well. And then we have the note to the teacher in the back. And that is all for my learning log for the beginning half of the year, of the semester. And that is it.